Just what are the San Antonio Spurs going to do with all these guards? Hopefully win a lot of games. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. I found a wonderful article on Sport Track that I wanted to share with you in regards to the Spurs financial preview. And some of them may be a little out of date, but I think a lot of it's pertinent to what the Spurs are going through. I also wanted to talk to you about who you feel is going to stay on the team, who's going to leave. We talked about this a lot with us drafting 3 players. It really clouds up the future of some of our San Antonio Spurs. Hit that thumbs up to export the channel, subscribe for more Spurs content, and I'll drop a link to the article down below. Let's get into our San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs, just as a refresher, players under contract until next season. Some of these are non-guaranteed. KVD, Zach Collins, Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones, Jacques Lindell, Romeo Langford, Doug McDermott, DeJounte Murray, Jakob Poeltl, Joshua Primo, Josh Richardson, and Devin Vassell. Potential free agents: Devontae K. Cock, DJ Stewart Jr., Lonnie Walker IV, Joe Wieskamp, Joe Obama, and Robert Woodard II. We talked about that. Just a quick refresher. Okay. Here's what they have to say about our San Antonio Spurs. The team's third consecutive below 500 finish in the third straight year out of the playoffs after a 22-year run of postseason appearances. So where does this leave the Spurs? Oddly enough, kind of where they've been for a while. Not really good, not really bad, just kind of stuck in the middle. And that's actually kind of not the best place you want to be, stuck in the middle. There's a lot of those Team Spurs fans that make the playoffs every year. The Utah Jazz. Sorry if there's any Jazz fans watching. Are a perfect example that make it and just don't really go anywhere in the playoffs. They never get a high draft pick because of that playoff appearance, but never go anywhere to, don't win the big one. So it's a tough spot to be in. We're kind of in that situation now, except we're not making the playoffs. We're making the play-in, just kind of making the play-in every year, having a losing season. But again, getting a draft pick around the number 10 spot, which is good, but maybe not going to take your franchise to the next level. Anyway, when things flip to roster moves this summer, and we're here right now, San Antonio is in a really good shape. They have no bad contracts, some extra draft picks, and only a handful of free agents. Because of this, they are sitting on somewhere between 19 and 32 million in cap space this summer, pending one free agent decision. Let's start there. Lonnie Walker IV. The Spurs can make Walker restricted free agent by giving a qualifying offer. That would give San Antonio the option to match any offers Walker may receive. But the challenge is that puts a $13 million cap hold on the books too. So what that means, Spurs fans, let's say we have $30 million in cap space, which I think we have. That's the max right now. And they make an offer to Lonnie Walker. That's a cap hold of $13 million, which means we now have $17 million in cap space. So if you want the Spurs to immediately sign Lonnie Walker and go after DeAndre Ayton, if I'm reading this correctly, that can't happen because we won't have the room with our salary cap. I don't think the Spurs will make a big move for DeAndre Ayton. I also didn't think they would draft 3 guys in the first round, and here we are. Anyway, let's get back to Lonnie Walker, as that seems to be the hot topic on this channel. Whenever I talk about Lonnie leaving, some people are like, why do you hate Lonnie Walker? I'm like, I don't. I just got to look at the facts. And here's what they say. Walker isn't exactly a young prospect. He'll be 24 years old in mid-December. That's not old. Come on, man. He's improved each year, but a lot of this is about his role increasing and subsequent rise in his usage, especially after Derek White was traded. Walker is coming off a poor shooting year, which is rough, headed into a contract discussion for a player that's mostly known for his scoring. Yeah, in regards to that, Lonnie last season played 70 games, shot 41% from the field, which is pretty much a career worst if we don't count his abbreviated rookie season, and a definitive career worst 31% from beyond the arc while averaging 12.1 points per game. While he was more aggressive after the Derek White trade, have we seen enough with these 4 years that maybe he just doesn't fit our system? Maybe he doesn't fit what Pop wants him to do. I don't know. Whatever it is, I feel like there's unlocked potential, and I'm not sure we're ever going to see it if he stays in San Antonio. May never see it if he goes somewhere else. Maybe he turns into a 20-point-per-game guy elsewhere, but I don't think the Spurs are going to keep him. And here's another good point right now in this article. The other complicating factor is that the Spurs are stocked with guards and wings. Even after trading Derek White at the trade deadline, San Antonio has DeJounte Murray, Devin Vassell, Joshua Primo, Josh Richardson, Trey Jones, Romeo Langford. And now we also got added Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley. We're called the San Antonio security guards as a joke draft night for a reason. They have a lot of guards, so they're going to have to start cutting some. And this may be one of the few casualties of war, if you will, Lonnie Walker. If they keep him around, hey, I'll be rooting for Lonnie, and I'm going to say, Lonnie, prove me wrong, boy. Prove me wrong. Oh, boy, he's a man, but you get where I'm going. Prove all of us, prove the naysayers wrong. Time will tell, but I think a team's going to offer him a contract that the Spurs just don't want to match. Best guess is that the Spurs initially make Walker restricted free agent. If he gets an offer they don't want to match, they'll let him go. There you go. They agree. All right, on to Zach Collins. Zach Collins showed enough in his comeback season that he'll likely have his $7.4 million contract full and guaranteed. It's no longer alike. His contract is fully guaranteed. So those of you that don't want Zach Collins on the team next year, I find it highly, highly unlikely the Spurs are going to. Well, I don't think we can just cut him. If we do, then we have to just eat his contract. So he'd have to be traded. I think he'll be a San Antonio Spur next year. Same with Trey Jones, as he becomes John Murray's primary backup after the Derek White trade. Yeah, I think Trey Jones will be here next year. Now, this one I don't agree with. They say, look for San Antonio to waive Jacques Lindell. He never quite made it, and the Spurs have Collins behind Jakob Poeltl. Yeah, Jacques Lindell in his first year with the Spurs probably didn't play as well as most Spurs fans would have liked him to. He also had the issue with the concussion. He had the issue with the old 1-9. So there was things constantly derailing him. But he had a lot of great moments. He had some duds of games, don't get me wrong. But he also had some big moments too. The reason I'm keeping Jacques Lindell is Zach Collins does have a very long injury history. And I don't think you can just bank on him being 100% for the whole season. I hope he is. For that reason, I think we need to keep a third center around. So I think Jacques Lindell is on the team next season. KBD, KBD. He is in a bit of a weird situation. He plays hard. He's a pop favorite. Had some outstanding moments last year, including the night he went off on the Lakers. That being said, KBD is the kind of player you can waive and then re-sign to a new minimum deal later. Oh, sorry, KBD. But they're right. That's probably what's going to happen. I think the Spurs will try to keep him on the roster. I do. The Spurs took care of Devontae Kaycock and Joe Wieskamp late in the season with promotions from their two-way deals, but neither will get qualifying offers to make them restricted free agents. Yeah, I'm not so sure either one of them will be here next year. Kaycock, probably not. Joe Mama, he was our second-round pick last season. They may still want to try him out at least for one more year. Here's the interesting part. They have 3 first-round picks. Because roster spots are getting a bit tight, look for potential trade-out or at least one draft and stash player to be selected. Well, we did pick 3 guys. Is Blake Wesley going to be that draft and stash? One thing we have to remember is all 3 first-round picks, they cannot be signed to two-way contracts. Keep that in mind as we get to the back end of the video when I go into my depth chart, Spurs fans. With their cap space, the Spurs need to target some consistent scoring. San Antonio's 1+ creator in DeJounte Murray. They rely on system buckets more than just about any team in the NBA. That's true. I think we led the NBA in assists last year. That's a good thing, but that means, a lot of our guys aren't creating their own shots. Getting someone else, ideally a forward with some size, which we did. They drafted Jeremy Sohan, would be ideal. If they go the $30+ million in space route, the Spurs could get involved in offer sheets for guys like Miles Bridges or possibly DeAndre Ayton. Bridges would be a great fit with the young core, while Ayton would free up the team to trade Jakob Poeltl to fill a hole elsewhere. That's true. And then this was an interesting blurb at the coming up on the end here. Actually, we're not there. Are we there yet? Maybe I'm misreading something. Did I miss that part? Dang it. I forgot to highlight this. They also mentioned getting a vet similar to Zach Collins, who maybe is coming off an injury. They mentioned TJ Warren, who missed all of last season and only played a handful of games the prior season. We did that with Rudy Gay. Could they do a veteran reclamation project? And I'm not overly familiar with TJ Warren, but if things go sideways, as they say, him and the Pacers, would you want the Spurs to maybe get a vet that's had some good moments and good days in the NBA, but injuries have derailed him for the last season or two? Worked with Rudy. So far, it seems like it's working with Zach. Would you be willing to risk it for the biscuit again if we have the cap space and we don't go after a player like DeAndre and somebody that's going to take up a bunch of cap? The only piece of extension work to be done with our Spurs by is Keldon Johnson. He's come along rapidly and is exactly the kind of player the Spurs have locked up in the past. I would agree. Look for San Antonio to ink Johnson to an extension in the $16 to $18 million per season range, which is in line with the team gave to Jacques Murray and Derek White. I fully agree. I think the Spurs do look to extend Keldon Johnson. I know he's got his naysayers. I get it. There's some holes in his defense. We have to remember, though, he has generally defended players bigger than him, and he has done a good job at times. He certainly brings a lot of energy to the team. He's now one of our best three-point shooters. So I think the Spurs will extend Keldon Johnson. I could see 4 years. Yeah, right around that $70 million mark, kind of being right where he gets extended. They also mentioned Romeo Langford as also extension eligible, and there's no chance he signs one. I agree. I'd be shocked if Romeo is with the team, but his contract is guaranteed, but it also is noted as a player option, or no, I actually think a team option. I don't think we opted, unless it was opted in with the Celtics. It gets really tricky sometimes trying to research contract stuff, so if I'm incorrect on anything, I please apologize. This will be a prove year for Langford, both in terms of ability and health. I 100,000,000% agree with that. The dude can't stay healthy. If he's on the Spurs roster, he's got to show the Spurs, and more so the NBA, that he can actually stay healthy for more than a week in a row. And we'll close this with it's probably not going to be a summer of fireworks in San Antonio. Probably not, huh? Yeah, I read that right. I think we'll make one move for free agent Spurs fans, one move, and then we'll see after that. I was going to mention TSR Sports depth chart, and Pop and DJ are looking at this like, huh? So here's what I think is going to happen. I think our point guards going into next season are going to be DeJounte Murray, Trey Jones. Kind of put a question mark on Blake Wesley. He might not be on the main roster. He may go to the G League. I think we can send him to anyway. Yeah, we can send a first round pick to the G League. Can't be signed on a two-way contract. And the reason I'm bringing up two-way contracts is you can have 15 players on your roster plus two-way contracts. Our roster right now is 20, so obviously a lot of players are going to go. If they plan on signing any free agents, we need to clear up some room there. So, shooting guard, I think Devin Vassell is going to start again this season. I think Joshua Primo will probably be his primary backup. I got Romeo Langford on there. Just maybe he's on the team. I don't know. That one's a big question mark. Small forward, obviously Keldon Johnson is starting. I think Jay Rich will back him up. I got Malachi Branham in there. I think Malachi Branham could be a wing that comes in garbage time, or if he comes in and is one of our guys is struggling. Pop has been known to go with the hot hand over the cold hand. Of course, he's also been known to just pull the hot hand out and go with a rotation based on minutes. So you never know what's going to happen with the Spurs and Pop. But I think he could be on the main roster when the season starts. Power forward, yeah, I got Jeremy Sochan starting over Doug McDermott. Now, that could easily flip-flop if Doug is on the team because there's a question mark there. He's a vet that could clearly help out another team. He's got a pretty decent-sized contract. So, I don't know. We need to have some vets on the team. I don't think we want a bunch of teenagers and guys in their early 20s. And that's not a knock to their age, just inexperience. And I think it's good to have some veteran leadership. So I could see Jay Rich and Doug being on the team. The question is, does Jeremy Sochan, you don't mess with this Sochan, start day one if he looks good in camp, looks good in preseason, or they go with Doug? I say throw him out there. Throw him into the frying pan. I know some folks say, they're young, Rich. You TSR, you just can't throw them out there. I'm like, look, if they're meant to be in the NBA and they have it strong up here, which listening to the three rookies that we drafted, talk, seems like, they got a good bond. It seems like they're well spoken. They got it together, I guess what I'm trying to say. Put them out there. Because if they can handle the pressure day one, they'll be able to handle it in the NBA playoffs, the NBA finals, etc. If they're crumbling under pressure their first year, yeah, I know they're young, but still, if they're crumbling under pressure their first year, then they might not have what it takes mentally to be a San Antonio Spur. Yeah, I said it. Sorry. This is how I roll. You know what? It is what it is. And then I do see KBD staying on the roster. He's inexpensive. He's a great role player. He's liked. I think he's still there. And then I already talked about center. You can't just cut Jacques Lindell because of the injury concerns with Zach Collins. So I think Zach and Jacques will be the main guys at center, which leave us only two-way contracts. That gives us no room for free agents with the roster being it like it is right now. I'm going to emphasize that. That's 15 roster spots. The first round picks count as a roster spot. No two-way or no other contracts available except for two-way contracts. They may want to sign somebody from the summer league, somebody that was playing in Austin that they want to bring up. They might want to re-sign one of the guys listed out below. I'm not sure what the Spurs are going to do. Obviously, we can free up spots if Romeo Langford's not on the team next season, if Doug McDermott was to get traded, if Jay Rich is to get traded. There's a lot of uncertainty, should I say, on what the Spurs are going to do moving forward and who's going to be the primary starter. Aside from I think 4 of the 5 starters are locked in. Who's going to be the primary starter at the 4 spot at power forward? And who's going to be the primary guy off the bench? If Lonnie was kind of projected to be our 6th man, and I'm going to close with this. I do think Lonnie Walker, unless it's a team-friendly contract and he gets no other offers, which I think he will, I think this could be his last days as a Spur. I mean, you look at our guards. Where does, you see young players, Joshua Primo, Blake Leslie at some point, Malachi Branham to swing, so he will obviously play shooting guard as well. With drafting more guards, where does Lonnie fit? And I think that's the biggest reason a lot of Spurs fans think he's gone is we drafted two more guards. at some point, you got to keep developing Joshua Primo. I still think Trey Jones will be there. I'm not sure the Spurs are ready to hand the keys over to the car to somebody else yet, so I think he'll be our backup point guard next season. He did play. I think his ability to run the offense is a little undersold. His assist to turnover ratio was ridiculous last year. I know his 3-point shot is lacking. Maybe he works on that in the offseason, and next thing you know, he's shooting threes like his brother. So we'll see. So I think Lonnie, unfortunately, is out. Again, if he stays, I'll be very happy. Joe Mama, he could be a player the Spurs offer a two-way contract. That is a draft pick from last year. Might want to keep him around for one more year and see what he brings to the team. We love his name, but I just don't see Devontae Cacok staying on the roster unless he becomes another two-way contract type of player. It could take two, Joe and Devontae, and I think both could be signed to two-way contracts. And then DJ Stewart Jr., Robert Woodard II, didn't play 1 minute with the San Antonio Spurs. They are absolutely off the team. And that's all I got, Spurs fans. It's going to be interesting to see what we do. I really don't know if we're going to go after a free agent. I don't know what the team's going to do. Looking at the starting lineup, let me close with this. If Jeremy Sohan becomes an okay 3-point shooter, he shot 30% in college. Say he gets the numbers up to 33% in the NBA this season, gets better at free throws, improves to about 66%. Is that starting lineup and that bench, if that's what we have going into next season, is that enough to jump from play-in to playoff? Playoffs! Got to win a game first. But is it? Seriously. I think we would be defensively improved if Sohan is the guy that we think he can be at defense. But is there enough offensive firepower to get us to the next level? Is there enough offense when Dejounte Murray goes out of the game with an 8-point lead, and then when he comes back in, we're down by 10? Is there enough offense there to maintain leads or extend the leads? I don't know. My heart says yes, this is enough to maybe get us to the next level. My mind says no. I hate to say it. Unless our guys continue to, DeJounte Murray made a huge leap last season. If Keldon Johnson can make that leap to an all-star type player, okay, that's a different story. Maybe he can. I don't know. He had 20 points in a row, like 8 games to close the season. If Devin can take the next step, it's really going to depend on player development. If we're just going based off of last season, then this is a team that will probably make the play-in again and more than likely have a lottery pick following season. Actually, I've heard the draft is pretty deep next season, so that might not be the worst thing. That being said, if these guys can develop and improve like they have been, if Keldon can keep taking it to the next level and average 18, 19 points per game, get a little more solid on defense. If Devin can take the next step we've been waiting for him to take, then maybe this is a playoff team, a late seed 7 or 8. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but I enjoy talking the team with you guys, and I don't know when I'll be live again. I have no idea when I'll be live again, because probably not until the Giants start playing in early September. So that's going to be 2 months of no live streams unless there's a massive Spurs trade and I decide to go live for that. So this is my other chance to talk to you guys about it. And I hope we're a playoff team. I guess in the end, I'll close with this. I hope Jeremy Sohan can be, and we can't have the expectations too high, but if he can be a 10 point, 10 rebound, get some steals and blocks, and just give us the big defensive upgrade we need at the 4, then that's great. And then I really, really think this season's going to depend on DeJounte and Devin, the steps they take, and also if Jacques Pearl's our center next year, or if the Spurs make a play for DeAndre and get him. I'm going to close. I'm going to go for far longer than I planned on. I want to thank you all so much for your support and tuning in. It's going to be a fun Spurs summer. We'll see what they do. Thank you for watching, and as always, go Spurs go!